Welcome to the Digi-Wave AIM tutorial. In this video, we'll guide you through how to set up and use 24-channel interpretation mode available with Digi-Wave AIM, our advanced interpretation module designed for dynamic multilingual communication. Digi-Wave AIM adds powerful enhancements to your standard Digi-Wave system, including interpretation question and answer and 24-channel interpretation modes, which feature control, channel naming, and subgroups. DLT 400 devices with AIM are fully compatible with DLR 400 RCH receivers. However, they are not compatible with DLR 400 ALK units. Please note, Digi-Wave 300 series devices are not compatible with AIM. Let's take a quick look at what AIM adds to your Digi-Wave system. Interpretation Q&A mode. Question and answer mode allows audience members, tour guests, and participants to use a DLT 400 AIM to communicate directly with the interpreter, tour guide, or presenter. Scenarios where question and answer mode is especially useful include multilingual presentations or meetings requiring real-time interpretation with audience feedback, and guided tours that support two-way communication between participants and guides with bilingual interpretation. If you're interested in learning more about interpretation question and answer mode, we invite you to check out our Digi-Wave AIM Q&A tutorial video. 24-channel interpretation mode. This mode expands your system from the standard 14 interpretation channels to 24 channels, ideal for large conferences or multilingual events requiring expanded language support. It's fully compatible with the IC2 interpretation console, making it a great fit for professional setups. In this tutorial, we'll focus on configuring Digi-Wave AIM specifically for 24-channel interpretation. What is 24-channel interpretation mode? 24-channel mode is a one-way interpretation mode ideal for conferences or presentations where multiple languages will be used. As the name suggests, 24-channel mode allows you to use up to 24 channels or languages, far surpassing the limitations of the standard floor plus 14 languages in regular interpretation mode, or the 2 languages in question and answer mode. However, since this is one-way interpretation mode, you won't have the floor channel, or channel 0, like in standard interpretation mode. This means that interpreters using a DLT can't directly hear the floor language through the DLT itself. Instead, the interpreter may hear the floor or presenter live in the environment, or they can use a Williams IC2 interpretation console, which receives analog audio directly from the microphone on the floor or from a mixer. The IC2 console is then integrated with the Digi-Wave system via the Digi-Wave Connect or the DWD401 interface. If you're interested in this setup, we have another video dedicated to IC2 integration where we walk you through that process. Now let's imagine an event using only Digi-Wave devices and there's no IC2 console involved. For this example, we'll start with 5 languages for the presentation. Here's how we'll configure the channels. Channel 1 will be English. Channel 2 will be Spanish. Channel 3 will be German. Channel 4 will be Japanese. And Channel 5 will be Hindi. Let's get started by preparing a DLT 400 AIM device for setup. To configure your Digi-Wave AIM system for 24-channel interpretation mode, follow these steps using a DLT 400 AIM device. To power on the DLT 400 AIM, press and hold the power button for 2 seconds. Once powered on, press and hold the menu select button, located to the right of the microphone button, for 2 seconds to enter the settings and configuration menu. Use the menu select button to advance through the settings and the power button to go back. Choose between English or Spanish. This only changes the display language for the menus and does not affect the interpretation settings themselves. You'll now see 3 options. Join group, to quickly join an existing group as a guest with default settings, or load profile to load a previously saved configuration. For this example, choose New Settings. You'll now choose the system mode. Standard modes include Intercom, Tour, Hearing Assist, Interpretation, and Court. Additional AIM-enabled modes are INTP24 and Q&A INTP. For this setup, select INTP24. In every Digi-Wave configuration mode, at least one master or master 1 DLT is required. Each group must have one and only one master 1 device. All other DLTs and DLRs will synchronize to the master in the group. Other available role options include guest and control. The control role allows a DLT to change channel names, manage subgroups, and push updates, all without interrupting a live session. This makes real-time system updates seamless even during active events. Let's select Master. We'll take a closer look at using a control unit later in this video. All DLTs and DLRs must be set to the same group number in order to communicate with each other. Let's select Group 1 for our example. Broadcast type. You'll be asked to choose between two options, interpreter or repeater. Most of the time you'll select interpreter. This is the standard setting for any device that will be actively used to deliver interpretation. The repeater option works like a Wi-Fi extender. It rebroadcasts the signal from the master DLT, which helps cover larger venues or spaces where interpreters and listeners are spread out. Keep in mind, only one repeater is allowed per channel. For this tutorial, go ahead and select interpreter. Select the channel this device will broadcast on. In 24-channel mode, you can select from channel 1 through channel 24. Let's select channel 1 for this example. Clock mode. Choose either a 12-hour or 24-hour format. Set the current time if needed. The master DLT will synchronize its time to all other devices in the group. You can skip advanced settings for now by selecting No. If you'd like more detail later, check out the DLT 400 user manual or watch our advanced settings video. Once complete, your settings are saved and the device will return to the main display. You can now repeat these steps for each interpreter device, selecting a unique broadcast channel for each language, up to 24 total, and if you're following the example scenario we described in Section 2, complete the configuration for all 5 languages. Audience members using DLR receivers can simply join the same group number and choose the language channel they want to listen to. 24-channel mode gives you the ability to custom name all 24 language channels. To do this in Digi-Wave AIM, you'll need to assign a DLT 400 AIM as a control device. Let's walk through how to configure the control unit and set up your custom channel names. With a powered-on DLT 400 AIM, press and hold the Menu Select button, located to the right of the Talk button, for 2 seconds to enter the Settings configuration menu. Use the Menu Select button to advance through settings and the Power button to go back. Choose your display language, English or Spanish. We're starting from scratch rather than loading a saved configuration profile or simply joining a group, so let's select New Settings. For our new scenario, select INTP24 mode. On the Master Guest page, you'll see an option to select Control. The Master DLT from our scenario is in Group 1, so that's what we want to select for our group. We'll dive into configuring subgroups in the next section of this video, so for now, select No. Step 8. Channel Name. Next, you'll find the option to name Channel 1. You'll be given 3 naming formats to choose from. 01 keeps the default numeric channel label. Custom lets you enter a name up to 5 characters long using letters, numbers, or spaces. ISO code allows you to select from standardized 3-letter region codes grouped by World, European and Americas, or Indy, Saudi Arabia. Once you've named Channel 1, the system will move on to Channel 2 and so on. You can continue this process for each channel you'd like to name. In our example, we're naming channels 01 through 05. When you reach channel 06 and you don't need to customize any more names, simply press and hold the Select button to skip ahead to the Save options. This will apply the default numeric names 06 through 24 for the remaining channels. You'll then see 3 options. Save saves your settings and moves on. Save as profile lets you store this configuration to one of 5 available custom profiles. Cancel prompts a confirmation screen. Selecting yes returns you to the start of the configuration menu, while no takes you back to the Save Options screen. If you select Save, the next screen will prompt you to decide whether you'd like to update the system. Selecting No will save your settings only to the current DLT device without making any changes to the group. Selecting Update System Now will lead you to another confirmation screen that asks you, "Are you sure?" If you select No, it will return you to the initial update page. If you select Update System Now, the settings will be pushed to all devices synced to the master DLT within your group. A status bar will appear on the screen, and once the process is complete, you'll see Update OK displayed. It is important to note here that all DLTs and DLRs must be synchronized to the master unit within radio range and turned on for the update to complete successfully. You can review the current channel names at the bottom of the display. To scroll through the channel names, simply use the up and down arrows. Channel subgroups are a useful feature when you want to limit the number of visible channels for specific participants. This could be particularly helpful in scenarios such as a large hall that is divided into multiple smaller spaces, or a large conference where attendees break out into smaller groups, but interpretation services are still required. In both cases, you can use subgroups to restrict which channels are visible on the DLR device, helping to simplify the user experience for the participants. This way, attendees will only see the channels relevant to their session or group. However, keep in mind that proximity to the master device is still crucial. Let's imagine we're at a large conference with 5 languages: English, Spanish, German, Japanese, and Hindi. As the conference progresses, the group will break out into 4 smaller subgroups for focused sessions. Each subgroup will have the same 5 languages, English, Spanish, German, Japanese, and Hindi, represented on different channels. English will be the primary language and assigned to Channel 1 in each subgroup to ensure hearing assistance is available for participants, even in cases where the presenter is close to the listeners. Here's a breakdown of how the channels will be assigned to each subgroup. Subgroup 1, or SG1. Channel 1 is English. This will be the presenter language reserved for hearing assistance. Channel 2 will be Spanish. Channel 3 will be German. Channel 4 will be Japanese. And Channel 5 will be Hindi. Subgroup 2, or SG2, will be Channel 6 for English. Channel 7 will be Spanish. Channel 8 will be German. Channel 9 will be Japanese. And Channel 10 will be Hindi. And so forth for subgroups 3 and 4. Subgroup 3 will be channels 11 through 15, and subgroup 4 will be channels 16 through 20. Considering this, let's grab our control assigned DLT and get started. With the powered on DLT 400 AIM, press and hold the menu select button located to the right of the talk button for 2 seconds to enter the settings and configuration menu. Choose your display language, English or Spanish. Remember, this only affects the DLT display text. We're starting from scratch rather than loading a saved configuration profile or simply joining our group, so let's select New Settings. For our new scenario, select INTP24 mode. On the Master Guest page, you'll see the option to select Control. The Master DLT from our scenario is in Group 1, so that's what we want to select for our group. We're going to assign channels to subgroups now, so let's select Yes. You'll need to configure the first and last channels for subgroup 1. Since subgroup 1 consists of channels 01 through 5, you'll define channel 01 as the first channel and channel 05 as the last channel. After selecting the first and last channels for subgroup 1, the configuration will go directly to defining the first and last channels for subgroup 2. For our scenario, subgroup 2's first channel is channel 6, and the last channel would be channel 10. After configuring the first and last channels for subgroup 2, the next page will ask you if you want to add subgroup 3. Since we have 4 subgroups in our practice scenario, we should select yes. You can then assign channel 11 for the first channel and channel 15 for the last channel of subgroup 3. Next, you'll have the option to add subgroup 4, and we'll need to say yes to finish configuring our subgroups. The subgroup 4 first channel would be channel 16, and the last channel would be channel 20. When you reach the active subgroup setting, you'll have options to either activate or deactivate the subgroups you've just configured. If you want to activate the subgroups right away, select yes. This will apply the subgroup settings, including which channels are in each subgroup and the corresponding channel names, and push those updates to the devices when you update the system. If subgroups were previously active and you want to deactivate them, select no and update the system. This will deactivate the subgroups but keep the settings saved, meaning you can still configure which channels are in each subgroup, but they won't be active for participants. If you want to configure the subgroups and channel names but not activate them immediately, select no. This will save the subgroup settings while keeping all channels visible to all sync devices, meaning they won't be separated into subgroups yet. After configuring the subgroups and channels and selecting whether to activate the subgroups or not, the next settings available are channel naming. If you don't want to name the channels, then you may jump to the end of the programming by holding the Enter button for 3 seconds. Channel names will then have the default number as their name. Make your selection for channel 1 and you'll see options for 01, Custom, or ISO code. Custom allows a 5-character name, letters, numbers, and blanks. ISO code offers a 3-character region code from 3 categories: World, European and Americas, and India, Saudi Arabia. Once you've made your selection for channel 1, channel 2 will be the next option. You can continue to follow these steps to name all the channels that will be needed for our subgroups, and it may be wise to use the same names to represent each language for each subgroup. Because there are 24 channels available, once you've completed naming the channels you need, 01 through 20 in our scenario, you can press and hold the Select button to advance to the Save Options page, setting the default numerical name for channels 21 through 24. Selecting Save will save your settings and advance to the next option. If you select Save, the next page will ask if you'd like to update the system. Selecting Update System Now will send you to the next page that inquires, "Are you sure?" Selecting Update System Now will push the settings to the devices synced to the master device in the group. A status bar will display on the screen, and once complete, Update OK will be displayed. The current channel names programmed for the control unit are listed at the bottom of the display. As we mentioned at the beginning of this video tutorial, 24-channel interpretation mode is a one-way communication mode. That means any participant who is not serving as an interpreter will need to use a DLR RCH, which is our rechargeable listen-only receiver. While the DLR setup is simpler than the DLT, it still requires configuration to ensure it connects to the correct group and, if needed, the appropriate subgroup. DLR RCH devices must have firmware version 1.3.0 or higher to be compatible. To check the firmware version, tap the menu button from the main display screen. If an update is needed, contact TechServices at williamsav.com for assistance. Continuing on with our practice scenario, we'll now walk through the steps to assign a DLR RCH to the main group and one of the configured subgroups. To power on a DLR RCH, press and hold the power button for 2 seconds. Once powered on, press and hold the menu select button for 2 seconds to enter the settings configuration menu. Next, you'll be prompted to select either English or Spanish. We're starting from scratch, so let's select New Settings. We're currently practicing a 24-channel interpretation scenario, so let's select INTP24. Next, choose the same group number as the master DLT, which is group number 1. On the next screen, you'll be given the option to join one of the active subgroups or opt out. Selecting No will allow the receiver to access all available channels. Choosing a specific subgroup will limit the receiver's access to only the channels assigned to that subgroup. Only the subgroups previously configured as the control DLT will appear as selectable options. If you don't want to go through the additional options, hold the menu select button for 3 seconds. You will then finish programming, and your DLR is now active within the chosen subgroup. To verify the subgroups on a control configured DLT unit, follow these steps. Press the menu select button. This will bring up a pop-up window displaying the current group number and firmware version. Continue pressing the menu button. As you keep pressing, the device will cycle through different subgroups that have been configured. For each subgroup, you'll see the first and last channels assigned to that subgroup. This process is helpful for quickly reviewing the setup of all subgroups, ensuring that each one is correctly configured and active in the group. Thanks for watching this Digi-Wave AIM tutorial. Be sure to check out our other videos for deeper dives into Q&A mode, advanced settings, and more. As always, if you have any questions or need support, you can reach the Tech Services and Design Department by emailing us at techservices@williamsav.com. For any sales inquiries, email info@williamsav.com.